One of the big questions which consumes people here in this town, Washington, D.C., is President Barack Obama's chances of being reelected. We are now in August of the year before the election, and the president's job approval ratings are in the 40% range. Actually, his first approval rating that we reported out in August was 43%. Let's assume for the moment it stays in the 40% range for this month of August. What does that tell us about his chances of being reelected? Well, we can look at some history here. 4 presidents who sought reelection had job approval ratings in the 40% range in August of the year before their election. They were Richard Nixon at 49, Bill Clinton at 46, Gerald Ford at 45, and Ronald Reagan at 44. Now, you know your history. When we look at those 4, we realize that 3 went on to be reelected. They were, of course, Nixon, Clinton, and Ronald Reagan. Gerald Ford, who had a 45% job approval rating in August of 1975, or around that time, was defeated. So, being in the 40% range, or even in the mid-40s, certainly is no predictor of whether or not you're going to get defeated or not. There was a president who at this point, August in the year before his reelection bid, had a lower job approval rating. That was none other than Jimmy Carter, former governor from Georgia. He had a 32% job approval rating in the summer of 1979. And although his approval ratings went up and down between then and the 80 election, he was soundly defeated by Ronald Reagan, of course, in that election. On the other hand, we have 4 presidents who had pretty good job approval ratings in the August before their year of reelection. You see them in front of you there: Dwight Eisenhower, George H.W. Bush, Harry Truman, and George W. Bush. And 3 of those went on to be reelected, but there's a cautionary tale here. The senior Bush, with that very high job approval rating of 71% in August of 1991, went on and had his approval ratings drop down into the 20s by the next year, 1992, and of course he was defeated by Bill Clinton. All by way of saying a president's job approval rating at this point, in August the year before the election, is not necessarily an infallible predictor of whether or not one is going to be reelected. So Barack Obama's current job approval ratings, if they stay in the, let's say, mid-40% range, really don't tell us much about whether he's going to be reelected or not at this point. I'm Dr. Frank Newport, Gallup Editor-in-Chief.